SuperTalkFlorida.com.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, a show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. It's been a great week this week. Had so many incredible guests. We'll do a little bit of a review of the week here shortly. And rain, rain, and more rain. So what I have to say to that is rain, rain, go away. We can't take any more rain. And I'll update you on the word from our friends at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. Had a great conversation with Matt McDonald this week in this rain or shine event, but I'll bring Kyle in just a few minutes and we'll talk about that for a few minutes. I want to share something with you from my friend Susan Griggs. And, just so many people thinking about how we can bring ourselves together more and sort of manage the conflict that's around us that too often people on social media are not sensitive to. But here's what she said. The worst thing you can say to someone is you're too sensitive, because that's basically saying you feel things more deeply and fully than I do. And this inconveniences me because now I have to be more mindful of my own actions. You're not too sensitive. The world is just more callous and stubborn. Sensitivity doesn't make you weak, and callousness doesn't make you strong. That's really amazing to think about as we consider better understanding the giving people who are around us. Hey, listen, April is Sexual Assault and Awareness and Prevention Month. You may not know this, but 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. That's according to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey. 90% of victims know the person who assaulted them, and that's according to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. So this is a big challenge in our world today, and if you're a regular listener to Coast View, I talk a lot about human trafficking. And we're really focused. Most people aren't aware that if you look at the kind of sexual harassment that happens around us here in coastal Mississippi, often there's a family member involved in putting them out there in this sort of terrible, terrible situation. And we're going to continue to focus on it with leaders across this state because it's one of the real challenges we have in the community. We were originally scheduled to have Desiree Mabey, who's the Sexual Assault and Prevention Coordinator at the Naval Construction Battalion Center. That is, of course, the CB base. And Brian Lamar, great friend of Coast View, who is the public affairs manager there at the CB base. We was originally scheduled to have them on, but they had some technological issues, and we're going to reschedule them for next week. But since it's an important focus, this notion of April being the Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, I still wanted to talk a little bit about that this morning. Let me bring Kyle into the conversation for just a second. Kyle is the producer of this show. He's a jack of all trades. I said, when we joined in, I said, Kyle, what are you doing at the studio? He was at the studio yesterday because we had a live show from the $1 Million Job Fair, which was incredibly successful, I might add. Lots of jobs of all stripe available. But he's in the studio again today, and I said, what are you doing in the studio? So what are you doing in the studio, Kyle?
Well, I was at a transmitter site at 6 o'clock this morning, and I just come straight here. Still don't have the internet at my house sorted out. It's kind of spotty at best. So the only way to do this reliably was to just come back here. And I wasn't planning on doing that. I wasn't planning on being in public, if you will, for appearance's sake. I'm not much of a vain person, but when it comes to showing up at the office, I don't like just showing up in a raggedy T-shirt that apparently I've got all kinds of dirt and grime and whatever. I'm wet still from playing around in the rain, and the only thing that's dry is my feet, and I really thought my feet were going to be the first things to get wet, but apparently the old Wolverine boots held up.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Hey, look, I think people are interested. This is a conglomerate of radio stations. It takes a lot of work by the team to keep this thing moving. And, the amount of rain and especially thunderstorms. I mean, last night, I don't remember. I think maybe 3 o'clock or so when the first kind of wave came through. Maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. Again, what's been really interesting about these storms coming through is not just the amount of consistent rain, but the amount of thunder and lightning. And that plays havoc on a radio station, doesn't it?
It really does. I think my text message alarm started going off at 4 o'clock this morning, and I knew it was going to happen. Driving back from New Orleans last night, I think we maybe topped out at 30 coming across the Pontchartrain Bridge. It was really rough coming over there. Lightning hitting everywhere. It was really spooky looking.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, we have Jeff Duncan from The Athletic coming in on the next segment, and I'll keep you in the loop for that conversation because Kyle was doing some sort of basically training because he's going to be doing some music for the Pelicans games now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that with Jeff in just a second. Kyle, I wanted you to know something. We had a great conversation this week with the executive director of Wildlife Mississippi, James Cummins, and we talked about the the Conservation Trust Fund bill that was passed by the House 117-2 and was essentially killed by the lieutenant governor. Again, I'm a fan of the lieutenant governor. I just significantly disagree with him on this one. I really do. But when I posted this on my personal Facebook page and said the governor killed the bill, I get immediately a note from Facebook who says I violated their community standards. By using the word killed. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, see what it is. Again, this is artificial intelligence. They're looking for certain kind of words and situations, and they haven't ramped up the kind of staff that it takes to be able to monitor the kind of the number of posts that they're getting. And see, that's actually contrary to their business model to have to ramp up to be responsible for the content. So they have computers doing it.
Did you ask you could change the phrasing to squeeze the life from?
Actually, it's interesting. I'm not changing anything because there was nothing wrong with my post. Zero. I got up this morning and people were reacting to the post. So obviously they must have seen my reaction to it, Facebook, because you have to go in and you have to answer certain questions and then they take it under advisement. But the post was back up this morning. But I don't know. Facebook has got a lot more control over things than I like. I know that's been one of the interesting things about you and I working together in the social media realm is that, people, what's interesting, even though at SuperTalk, when you would look at the combined number of people who follow SuperTalk channels, it's well over 50,000. But the problem is if you follow the SuperTalk channels of SuperTalk Mississippi directly, that doesn't mean that you're going to get the show or the post that we put out there. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that. And what they try to do is say, if you want people to see these posts, even though these are people who are following you, you got to pay. They want you to pay. They want you to boost posts so that more people can have access to it. They are really controlling too much. It's a real shame. And the more I learn about what Facebook does and how they do it, it's very, very, very concerning. Any final thought on that before we talk about rain in the Coliseum?
The whole Facebook and all of the social media outlets that say they're not news information folks and then hide behind those protections. I think they need more oversight, really.
Yeah.
They need to own up to what they really are. Yeah. And, if they're going to be censoring what people are saying, then they have to be held accountable for like every other organization.
Well, I've read a lot about this, and Section 230 essentially means that you have legal liability for content. And when Section 2, when they were allowed, these big tech companies back in the day, when they were allowed to not have, to have Section 230 protection, which means they don't have legal liability for content. They didn't envision at the time that they would become what they are today, these incredible content engines that have essentially put newspapers out of business for the most part. It's just incredible what's happened there. And so, it's something that really concerns me. I talk about it a lot. Elon Musk said and I pay a lot of attention to him because he's a really smart guy. He said, if you have an FAA that manages the skies of America, imagine the world without the FAA. You know, imagine how unsafe that would be. He thinks there needs to be an FAA or artificial intelligence, the kind of artificial intelligence that Facebook is using to collect our data, that is so dangerous what's happening there. And I agree with him. You know, so I just think that we don't have enough, you know, we don't have leaders in Washington today that are really focused on solving problems. You know, the political divide too often defines the conversation, and that we're just not in a good place.
I agree. We got 1 minute left. They didn't want to show the clock.
Good. Hey, listen, Matt McDonald told us this week he's a terrific leader of the Coliseum. Rain or shine, this thing goes on. They'll bring the acts inside. So if you've got a ticket to any of the incredible entertainment that's going to be at the Coliseum over the weekend, you just go ahead and go, because they're going to be, you know, adopting their backup plans and accommodating everyone. So it's going to be terrific. Hey, when we come back, we're going to have Jeff Duncan from The Athletic join us, and we'll find out the latest on the Saints and the Pelicans and anything else that might be on your mind. We'll see you after this.
Coast View on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's J. Allen at J. Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the J. Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the J. Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, casinoradio1063.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I enjoyed my conversation with Kyle as we kind of looked at things that are on our mind these days. Hey, before we get to Jeff Duncan, I just wanted to mention there's a terrific story in AL.com. This is the company that is part of a company that I was involved in when I was over in Alabama. And what the story is about the process that Alabama is going through to potentially approve lottery and casinos. I was involved in sort of, I don't know, I would say opposing a lot of the state's approaches to casino gaming when I was there back in 2010, 2009 timeframe. And but it's, they're slowly but surely sort of getting their act together. So the Alabama Senate has now passed a vote that would enable lotteries and casinos, and now it goes over to the House, and we'll see what happens next. But essentially, what will happen is that they approve it, and it will go to a ballot in the November 2022 general election. And here is what the bill, according to AL.com, this is what the bill says. 4 of the casinos will be at the state's Greyhound tracks in Birmingham, Mobile, Greene County, and Macon County. 1 would be in Houston County at the crossing at Big Creek Bingo Hall, and the 6th would be in either DeKalb or Jackson counties in Northeast Alabama. The bill would create an Alabama gaming commission that would issue license for the casinos through a competitive bidding process. But the current operators in Birmingham, Mobile, Greene County, and Houston County, and Macon County would have the right to make a final bid exceeding the higher bidder. For the casino in DeKalb or Jackson County, the Porch Band of Creek Indians would have the right to make the final bid. Now, they're the ones who run casinos over there today. But obviously, this would have an impact on coastal Mississippi. So this is something we're going to watch closely. I don't have a sense. I haven't seen any surveys recently. I'll try to find 1 or 2 that we can look at as, what happens when this turns over to the voters. Will they vote it in? Will they not vote it in? My sense is highly religious community. My sense is the Baptist community, the religious community will fight it greatly. But I don't know. I don't know the state of affairs there these days. So I'll try to get back up to speed on that. But something to watch. Will Alabama pass lottery and casinos? We shall see. Now let's turn to our friend from The Athletic, Jeff Duncan, great friend of Coast Views, on with us weekly. Hey, Jeff, have you ever seen so much rain?
Ricky, it's unbelievable. So let me just tell you a story real quick. I have planned a fishing trip with some buddies for over a year. We planned. Guys are flying in as we speak from all over the country. They've gotten hall passes from their significant others, time off from their child rearing duties. We've all been anticipating this great weekend out in the marsh down in Golden Meadow, and we get torrential biblical rains. We haven't had anything like this. We've had maybe 1 day of this all year, right? And all of a sudden, 3 days in a row, right when our trip is upon us. It's just kind of bewildered right now.
Yeah, man, and dangerous weather, man, dangerous weather. Our thoughts and prayers are still with the men on the jackup rig that that search and rescue effort continues. And what a tragedy. I mean, this really rare low that developed on that front, and what it meant for especially the oil and I would say shrimping community out of areas like southern Louisiana, especially Fort Pouchon and places like that. It's a scary situation, man, watching that thing unfold. It was literally a tropical storm, an unexpected tropical storm is what it was.
No. And then we've had 2 days of heavy. I was out running errands this morning, and there's street flooding all over New Orleans. It's just been relentless. There's been no break. I really haven't seen anything like this in a while. It sounds like it's going to, the worst of it's behind us, thank goodness. So let's hope that everybody stays safe and sound and we can kind of get through this.
How's the power situation been? You and I've talked about this before, but my time in New Orleans helped me learn firsthand how sensitive the power grids are in New Orleans to situations like this. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, we haven't had any issues in Uptown, and I haven't spoken to anybody that's had any issues. I just know that this amount of rain stresses every system in the grid. And it sounds like the pumping stations have actually been doing a good job, but they're taxed because those things, as we know, are centuries old.
They are. So let's move to the Saints. If you go to either the Athletic or any of the media that are covering the Saints these days, what you see is we're in mock draft territory. Everybody's got an opinion. They really do. So, what's your latest thinking on how this is going to unfold?
Look, when you pick 28th in the first round, you're at the bottom of every draft round, I should say. Nobody knows. The Saints don't know. That's what's so fun about it. It's total chaos. All it takes is one team to do something nobody planned, make one trade, and everything is altered. All the plans go out the window. And the Saints at 28, I think, are doing their due diligence. They're having all their personnel meetings, trying to be prepared for every possible scenario, but they don't even know. No one really knows what's going to happen when you're that low in the draft. The one thing I would say, Ricky, is they now have 8 draft picks, so they have enough ammo to kind of move around if they want to do that and make a trade and get a player that they really want if he starts falling to them at number 28. They've done that historically. Wouldn't surprise me to see them do it again. But I would say one caveat, and that is this is different this year than past years. Last year, if you remember, I think they ended up using 4 draft picks. It was quality over quantity because the roster was so stacked. There really was no reason to try and get a bunch of rookies. They weren't going to make the team. So they went for the quality over quantity. I think it's the exact opposite this year. You're going to have a lot of rookies make this Saints team because of the offseason purge to the roster. So many players had to be let go, so many veteran players, that a lot of these rookies are going to make the team. So they may go in the opposite direction of trying to get as many young players as they can on this roster. Not only do they need an influx of young talent, but they also need cheap labor, if you will. These players will all be on their rookie contracts, and they need that because they're getting ready to sign Ryan Ramczyk to a long-term deal. We know they need to try and sign Marshawn Lattimore. They've already got Mike Thomas under contract, Taron Armstead, Alvin Kamara. I can go down the list. They're going to have a very top-heavy roster with some big numbers, big-ticket contracts. They need a lot of guys on rookie deals.
And hey, by the way, we're going to talk about the kind of the number of combinations that can occur by the time you get to number 28. We'll come back to that in a second. But you mentioned Lattimore. Anything new on that front?
No, it's absolutely been all quiet on that front. I don't think we're going to hear anything, to be honest with you, for some time. I'm sure that the NFL and the Saints are doing their own investigations, but as far as we know, everything's the same as it was before.
Hey, let's in case people had just missed it, they were asleep at the wheel. I noticed that people aren't paying attention so much to the Saints this time of year. Remind them what happened.
Well, there was a traffic stop, and he was caught with a weapon that was stolen. And, of course, Lattimore's attorney represents him, has said that he was not aware that the weapon was a stolen property, but that is a felony offense. And so it's very serious. And I don't know what's going to happen, if the charges will eventually be dropped or not, but I think Marshawn Lattimore is facing some type of discipline from the league, regardless of what happens under the personal conduct policy. He could lose anywhere from 2 to 4 games suspension, depending on how this plays out.
So what's interesting about these combinations, if you know math, and that's why, if you look at the mock drafts related to the Saints, when you get down to number 28, wow, the number of different combinations is literally limitless. I mean, it literally is limitless. That's why you're seeing so many different, gyrations as it relates to. The only thing that's for sure is number 1. Number 2, just about for sure. Number 3, it starts to, there's a lot of combinations based on who gets picked. Number 4, even more combinations. By the time you get to 28 and you add in all these trading up and down and moving around, it's impossible to really know how this is going to play out, isn't it?
Right. And the Saints don't know. They'll try to have a best guess as possible. But like I said, all it takes is one curveball, and you can rest assured there's going to be more than one when you're that low in the draft. So it's really the mock draft of a 28 spot is, well, you might as well throw a dart against a board. It's the Saints don't even know who's going to be available there. What they will do, though, is they will have certain players targeted that they want, that they feel like are graded high, And if they start falling to the middle of the first round or down the 20s, they may decide, hey, this guy's in our top 15 players in the whole draft. And here he is at number 23. Let's go get him. We think he's that good. So, pardon me for a second.
Yeah, no problem at all. This is Jeff Duncan from The Athletic. We're going to continue to have this conversation, and we'll talk about the Pelicans, and some information about Miss Benson's wealth came out recently. That'll be interesting to kind of explore for a second. But when we come back, we'll continue the conversation.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast View on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to SuperTalkMSGulfCoast.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer-songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and,
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
in a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On Super Talk, Mississippi. Whether you're brand new to the DIY craze or a seasoned veteran, the Handyman Show has something for you. Buddy Slowick shares tips and tricks on everything from odd jobs to complete build-outs, from small home repairs to serious construction. So no matter if you're at the master carpenter level or not quite sure how to use a level, the Handyman Show answers your questions with a healthy dose of humor and some great music too. Saturdays, 10 to noon on Super Talk Mississippi and on Super Talk TV.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on Super Talk Mississippi.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. Jeff Duncan with us, and we always enjoy visiting with Jeff from The Athletic. He's a columnist there. He's a Saints expert. He wrote the definitive book on the Drew Brees, Sean Payton era. He's covered the Saints longer than anyone else on earth. He's follows the Pelicans. He's just a smart guy. A lot of fun to talk to him. Hey, before we get back on the Saints for a second, I was so interested in reading, and by the way, you have so much insight into this, and I'll explain why in a second. But Jeff's just sort of an expert on this part of the conversation. But Miss Benson's wealth continues to go up, and you covered. And you and I have talked about this before, but as Tom Benson was, getting on up there in age, and it was clear that he was diminishing, he put some things in place that took some family members out of the trust, and it was a very contentious situation. And ultimately, they won. Miss Benson won in court, Tom Benson won in court. So essentially, what that meant is that when Tom died, Miss Benson basically has total control now. And you've really covered that from the very beginning, haven't you, Jeff?
Well, yeah, and Ricky, I think she's done a great job as a steward of the organization. It's really been a seamless transition from when Tom Benson passed away a few years ago and her taking control of the teams, and I think doing a really terrific job of guiding them in this pandemic situation. She spent a lot of money to support the team. The Saints basically had 2 whole floors of hotels rented out to ensure the safety of the staff and the players and coaches. She's been really a godsend for the organizations. And the thing I like best about Gail Benson in dealing with her is she understands that she is really just a steward for the Gulf Coast, the Gulf South, Louisiana, New Orleans. This team is really a part of the community and part of the public, and that she is just a franchisee and runs the team and is a steward for everyone else. And I think that's a great way of looking at it. It's not all about her. She understands her role, and I think it's really refreshing.
It is refreshing. She's also she's a good business person, but there's a gentleness about her. I know you've been around her a bunch. I've had the opportunity to meet with her and Tom Benson before as well. And what struck me about Tom, and then obviously, just because they were true partners in their work, whether it was the Saints or whether it was in his various business interests or whether it was in the community. So they were in lockstep together. But their incredible focus on playing a role to help in the community. I mean, they put their money where their mouth is as it relates to that, haven't they?
Yeah, that's a great observation. I think what she has done is made them, I think, very viable corporate citizens. Understands their role in the community. They get a lot of public support through taxpayer dollars at the stadium, and they know that. And yet they give it back, though. They've seeded a lot of businesses. The one that comes to mind right away is Dixie Brewery over now, Faubourg Brewery over in New Orleans East, creating jobs. That is giving back to the community, not only philanthropically, but also, I think, economic development. And, the New Orleans Saints play a huge role in this community. We don't have a Fortune 500 company in New Orleans, but they're as close as you can get to one just because of everything they bring in the equation as far as image and perception of the area. I mean, they really are like Fortune 500.
Yeah, I think about their contributions to the Cancer Center at Ochsner. I think about their contributions to the Catholic Church. I think about their contributions to education. Just incredible. But boy, the wealthy get wealthier, especially in the NFL world. Isn't that true?
Yeah, and that's a tribute to, I know Roger Goodell's not a very popular commissioner for a lot of fans, but he's popular with the ownership because he's guided this franchise through this unprecedented pandemic and continued to increase revenue somehow. They took a little bit of a flat line last year, but the overall value of the NFL and all the 32 teams is continued to increase. And that's really incredible considering the revenue hit that they took last season without fans in attendance.
Unbelievable. And, we're fortunate. We're fortunate that while there's a lot of changes happening within the Saints, as far as the team is concerned, the leadership of the Saints has been solidly in place. You think about Dean and his great leadership for sort of the business and overall, and Mickey as a general manager, and Sean and his work and their great team. They lost some real superstars to others, that's the way it works in the NFL. You bring them up, they get great at what they do. They have other opportunities, and they become general managers, or they become scouting experts for other teams. That's the way it works. But we're really lucky, though, that just the symbiotic and I think powerful relationship that exists between the ownership and especially the big three within the Saints organization. It's just an incredible situation, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would say the Saints have become a model franchise for all small market teams in the NFL. They are in the top, I think it's 11th right now. They're ranked 11th in the league in operating income. That's basically revenue and profit. That's incredible when you consider the New Orleans market is the second smallest and poorest of the 32 NFL markets. Yet they're punching way above their weight. They're up in top 12 in terms of operating income that comes in here, and that's a tribute to the front office and to the staff in the New Orleans Saints organization that they're able to be that successful in a market against rivals that are 2-3 times as large.
Unbelievable success story, and as you pointed out, just because they're making a lot of changes on the team, it doesn't mean they're not going to be a great team. And it doesn't mean they're not going to be a playoff contender. They very well may be, because the nucleus of the team is still very much intact. And if we can have great play from the quarterback position, we got another chance to go on a run, don't we, Jeff?
Well, I think they don't even need great play, Ricky. I think they just need solid play. I mean, this team's good enough in the running game, the offensive line. Mike Thomas should be healthy this year. The defense certainly improved, and they still have, I brought this up before, there's still 8 players on this roster that have made the Pro Bowl or All-Pro in their careers. I mean, that's a lot of talent, elite talent on this roster. So they just need quarterback play like we saw last year from Taysom Hill when he came in, and not make mistakes and take care of the ball and convert when you get chances to score. And I think both Winston and Taysom Hill can do that.
Well, what's cool about it, and for people who listen to the show on a regular basis, they already know this, but if you're listening to this for the first time, one of the interesting opportunities the Saints have with Drew Brees' retirement is to focus on speeding up the game, going downhill, going down the field, because the reality is whether it's Taysom Hill or my mind went totally blank.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, thank you. that happens from time to time. Taysom Hill has got a hell of an arm, and they both have a hell of an arm. So there's a real opportunity now for them to get some speed on the outside and take it downfield, isn't there?
Well, I think what's important in this draft coming up, and I'm going to write this column for The Athletic soon, is don't think of players, think of traits in this draft. Saints need to add some explosive offensive playmaking ability in some form or fashion to the offense. Now, whether that's a receiver, a tight end, a running back, I don't know, probably a receiver, but they need to start looking a little more like the Kansas City Chiefs. And they now have a quarterback, whoever wins the job, that's going to be capable of stretching the field. But I think they also need a little more of playmaking ability on jet sweeps, screen passes, things like that. They need a Tyreek Hill type of player. And in this draft, Ricky, there's a bunch of those kind of guys because we've seen the proliferation of the spread offense in college football. There's a lot of these 5'9", 5'10" receivers that can scoot. And I think the Saints are going to get one of those in the first couple rounds.
Man, that would be so much fun. That'd be so much fun. Now, coming back to Jameis for a second, he has a cannon, doesn't he?
Yeah, one of the strongest arms the Saints have had, I think, at quarterback in a long time. And that's never been the question with him. Arm strength, arm talent, make every throw in the book. It's the decision making. It's those kind of back-breaking plays when the pressure's on, he's fallen victim to that. Can he improve in that area in this quarterback-friendly offense with a quarterback coach like Sean Payton, an offensive genius? We're going to find out. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And he's going to have to earn the job because Sean Payton has said it is a open competition. He's not handing the job to Jameis Winston. So training camp's going to be fascinating this year.
We'll come back in the next segment and talk about the Pelicans, but anything else about the Saints that's worth noting?
No, I would say this. I've got a story coming out real quick. It came out this morning. You remember talking about the Field of Dreams project at Carver. That's back in the mix, and I think the Saints are going to be a big proponent for that actually coming to reality.
Yeah, I saw that was being talked about again. That's terrific. We talked about that on a upcoming show because it has really important community ramifications, and it'd be a good conversation to have. Hey, when we come back with Jeff Duncan from The Athletic, we will continue the conversation and talk about the Pelicans. We'll see you after this.
Also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
It just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Jeff Duncan with us from The Athletic, and we're going to bring Kyle into the conversation as well. So, Kyle, you there, buddy? There he is. There he is.
I'm here.
There you go. Had to turn that mic on. Kyle was at the game last night, and unfortunately, the Pelicans lost against the Knicks after basically a 3-game winning streak. Kyle, what was it like being at the game last night?
That game goes by so much faster when you're there than watching it on TV. That's what I forgot about the NBA. The fast-paced game. I don't want to get put in the same Facebook jail as you, but the referees killed us last night.
Yeah.
There was some bad calls. They missed a clear and outright 3-pointer. There was clear daylight. And the referees were like, "Nope, it's got to come from the ref in New York or wherever. It's out of our hands." And, not that the 1 point would have done any different, but there was fouls left and right that didn't get called our way.
Well, you do the music for the Saints during the Saints games at the Superdome, and now you're actually going to be doing some fill-in during Pelicans games. That's going to be a lot of fun, huh, buddy?
Yeah, their music guy has got a prior commitment for the game on the 24th, and so there's a lot of intermingling between football and basketball operations. And my boss called and asked if I could come and sit in for a game. So I went over and did the training for last night, and then I'm going over for another game next week, I guess Tuesday, and then Saturday I'm on my own.
That's part of the synergy of having, this is one of the big experiments in professional sports, having two professional a football team and a basketball team owned by the same ownership group. It's an interesting experiment, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, and I tell you, it's definitely become one of the things to do now with Zion Williamson here. I mean, Zion Williamson has kind of changed the landscape for the Pelicans. I mean, he's a rising superstar, and people will come out and pay just to see this young kid play because of what he's doing so far. We forget he's only played basically one season in the NBA. He's 20 years old. I think there's really a lot of excitement about his future and what he's going to do for this organization.
Well, you mentioned they didn't have to win that game. There was a 3-game winning streak. What's your thoughts on the sort of the playoff situation now?
Well, look, they're only 2 games out of the playoff hunt. This year there's expanded playoffs. There's 10 teams from each conference make it. Right now the Pelicans are 11th, so they're right on the outside looking in. But they're 2 games back, and they certainly can make that up. There's 17 games left to play, plenty of time to put it together. But they got to get healthy again. I mean, they're still missing Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's 3 of their top 8 players, and they've been without them now for the last couple of games, and it showed, I think, in that Knicks game the other night. Their depth was a weakness coming into the season. We knew they couldn't endure too many injuries, and it's unfortunately hit them all at one time here in the last week or so.
So it is. Boy, I tell you what, they have really done a good job, haven't they? They've really done a good job of correcting their defense issues and really staying very aggressive on offense. And if they can get those players back, they've really positioned themselves well. I hope they're not one and done. A lot of people think they will be one and done in the playoffs, but do you think they have a chance if they could get healthy?
Well, I don't think they're going to go far, but I think the experience of getting into the playoffs would be critical for a young team getting to play in those big games. But I don't think this team is deep enough or talented enough to make a deep run. But they've proven, Ricky, that, I mean, they've beaten the Utah Jazz this year. They've beaten the 76ers. They've beaten some of the best teams in the league. They can play with anybody. No one's going to want to play the Pelicans in a series because they have elite talent. It's just young talent. And right now, some of it's injured.
Well, if they can hold this together, let's say they get into the playoffs, or maybe they don't get in the playoffs. The fact of the coming together as a team, getting that experience, and then keeping the team together, maybe making some additional add-ons to give them the depth that they need. They could be a dangerous team, and even next year, couldn't they?
Well, I think next year they're going to be extremely dangerous because I think they'll have another offseason of tinkering with the roster. They've got a lot of draft picks at their disposal. David Griffin's done a terrific job of kind of building an arsenal of assets that they can now use to go out and add to the roster. But they've got the most important thing, and that is they've got a franchise player to build around. And Brandon Ingram's an ideal number 2 player. So they've got the hardest pieces of the puzzle already in tow. Now they just need to add role players around them, add some shooters. And I think they discovered this year they can put the ball in Zion Williamson's hands, and he is a force of nature. The league doesn't know what to do with him because they've never seen a player this size with that kind of skill and that kind of explosiveness. And the way the league is officiated these days, it really plays into his hands because no one can hand check. You can't block him. And so he's become a dominant player, and I think the future is really bright.
Kyle is right, man. The game's moving fast, isn't it? It's moving fast.
Yeah, it's amazing how much different it is, and also amazing just the skill level of these guys. You've got 7-footers that can hit 3-pointers now. Everyone can shoot just about. That's
so incredible. Again, I'm not a big NBA follower, but you get more interested when you have someone like Zion playing in New Orleans, and you can't help but pay more attention. Of course, I get to do Coast View and visit with you, and you've educated me, and it's a lot of fun to kind of pay attention. Anyway, Jeff, thank you very much. We'll see you next week, buddy.
Thanks, Ricky. Have a great day.
This has been Jeff Duncan from The Athletic, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.